share his story, how he met Jesus in his circumstances and in his life.
Good morning or afternoon. My name is Josip. They also call me Joe, and that's my wife over there, Kelly. Last service I didn't do that, and some ladies were looking, who's your wife? So I want to make sure, and there's me over there. I will share what God has done in my life, focusing a little bit more on the past to show you what God has pulled me from. So I grew up in Pula on the coast of Croatia, in a very challenging home. Both of my parents had issues. My dad was an alcoholic his whole life. My mom was mentally ill her whole life, which implied that she would occasionally go to hospital. You don't know what takes place when your mom goes to hospital. We're very poor. We lived in a small apartment. We didn't even have a shower until I was 16 years old. The situation at home was so difficult that my sister, who was 14 at the time, she took over the finances for the home so that we could make it through the month. I had two sisters. My parents never got married, so my last name is my mom's name, Debeljuh. My dad gave us Muslim names because he came from country of Kosovo. At the time, it wasn't a country. So he thought it was a great idea to give us Muslim names in a region where it was very difficult to have that kind of name. Because of my dad's background, my mom's side, which lived like 20, 30 kilometers from us, did not want to do anything with us. I had two aunts in my city, and one I never met. She looked just like my mom when I saw her when I was at the funeral for my other aunt. So it was very challenging to growing up without any direction. I was free to do whatever I wanted. Maybe some people wish that. It was sort of fun to be free. I failed my fifth grade. At age 11, I had to redo my fifth grade. At that time, during summer, we are big in tourism, so during the summer, for 3 months, I was around bad guys and we were stealing. And then, of course, we got caught. Went to police and they told me that I would end up in juvenile if I don't change very quickly. The Lord was merciful to me and gave me a passion to play the game of basketball. And the game of basketball really changed my life. He took me off the street. He gave me direction. Gave me a purpose. And I was around very good people. People who wanted to study. And they were generally good people. At age 17, I dropped out of high school. I basically completed, in English, in American, that would be 9th grade. In Croatian, I completed first year of high school. But then a few years later, I ran into my principal of the school. He was basically an uncle of my friend, basketball player. He said, come to the office. I'll need to talk to you. So he offered me grades of several years of high school. So I got a diploma. It was handed to me. That was actually during my military time. So as Momir was talking about the war, I wasn't in the war, but I was around it because I was in the military. Something that changed my life again was at age almost 22. I was at that time already like a sort of professional basketball player in Croatia, in Pula. And a friend of mine who played with me for like a summer league said, do you want to go to the United States, play basketball in college? A dream for every basketball player in the United States to play college ball. And I was like, how? I can't speak English. I have a diploma, but was handed to me. Well, he said, let's just do it. Let's just see. So there was a month process where he was dealing with some paperwork. The hand of the Lord was on my life in this whole process. He said, I'm going to need $1,000. I had no money, even though I was a professional basketball player. That's how it was then. Even today, it's not much better. I sold my car, which was like an old-fashioned car, for $500. That was like Friday. And he said, you guys need to be leaving on Monday. I was heading with another friend. I went to my club over the weekend. They say, guys, you owe me 6 months of salary. They started laughing at me and saying, no, we're going to report you to the basketball Croatian Basketball Federation, that you are breaking your contract, although they never pay me money, I went to my friend who was doing this whole thing for me, and he said, I'm just going to give you the remaining of money. He gave me $500, and the next day, I packed up my suitcase. 3:45 a.m. in Pula, I'm getting on the bus, and I'm heading to in Zagreb to the embassy. Many of you deal with visas. So I'm coming to American embassy. I speak no English. Zero. I know some embassy representatives there present today with us. And there was an American guy, because I'm heading to America, you have to deal with Americans, I think. Although sometimes you deal with Croatians when you deal with the embassy. And this person realized immediately I didn't speak English. So he switched in Croatian. He even said, I love basketball. And I was like, maybe I got this. Who knows? We'll see. Anyways, that afternoon, I got a visa. And my friend and I, we bought the ticket that afternoon. And next morning, we were heading to the United States. January 13, 1996. I'm so old. Many of you guys have not been born. I had $50 in my pocket. That was borrowed money, remaining from the borrowed money. I was excited for an unimaginable. I never dreamed to go to the United States because it was impossible. But yet, I was also in fear and anxiety. How am I going to do this? I don't speak English. I don't have studies. I don't have habits to practice, to study, not practice. I had plenty of practice when it comes to basketball. Many of you can relate to this part of this story, right? You come into this country, you don't speak the language, you have to deal with the visas. You come here to make your life better, or for whatever reason you came. I came with another friend, and he was much better in English than I, and he helped me a lot. My family background, we never went to church. I've never been to church before I went to the United States. They told me I'm going to have to attend chapel, because this was a Christian school or college. Although no, you don't have to be a Christian, but background was in Christianity. So I had to go to this chapel to listen messages. Small digression. This past Monday, the school called me. They want to have an interview with me. We serve as missionaries here for a long time, and they want to have an interview for chapel. And I did it, and it's going to be here in 2 days. And it just so happened that our son, Ben, is in the same school. And on Tuesday, he will come to the chapel at 9 o'clock, and he'll see my face. And I will be I have a short message for him, and then for the whole student community. But during these chapels, I was exposed to Christianity. Also, at the beginning of or in the process of this going to college, I started learning the language. When you immerse in the culture like I was, from morning till evening, you are quickly learning at least the basic English. So God was gracious to me. My English was getting better. Several students were reaching out to me. They were pursuing me as believers. They showed me Christ's love. They pointed me to Christ. They practiced what we heard last time. Come see who Christ is, who Jesus is, what Jesus has done in their lives, what their life stories are of Christ changing their lives. They would take me to shops, whatever I needed. They invited me to church, even in mentoring me, even though I wasn't even a Christian. After about 8 months, there was a lady that showed up at the college. She was very curly hair. Pretty. And I thought, that's the one right there. And I kind of claimed that I was already a Christian. so that she would date me. But Kelly witnessed to me. She encouraged me to go to church with her. And soon after, I realized I was a sinner. Even though I thought I was a good person, that I deserved this opportunity, and even that I deserve heaven, I realized that I was a sinner, and the Lord has convicted me. The Holy Spirit opened my eyes to the gospel message, and I surrendered my life to Christ. And I don't know where you are. I don't know. Most of you I don't even know. Have you done that? Have you realized that you're not going to enter the kingdom of heaven without Christ? You cannot go on your own. You can only go through Christ. He says, I am the way, the truth, and life. No one comes to the Father except through Christ, through Him, through me. That's what Jesus says. Kelly and I got married right after college, and I joined a local church, and I became a serious believer. I joined into evangelism training, even became a trainer next semester, because it was a training of 12 weeks going outside, and it was a serious training. And Kelly and I attended a mission conference in our church. It was a fairly big church. And the Lord kind of called us to Croatia for 1 year. And that was in 2002. And we came with Mia. Mia was like 10 months. She came with us. Again, going back to the United States, I didn't even have a permanent residence at that time. So I was pursuing my visa. But then the call came again by the Lord for Kelly and me to come to Croatia as a full-time missionaries for indefinite period. That happened in 2006. Yet we moved in 2008. I felt that the Lord has done so much that I need to glorify my life, His life in the United States, but even more in Croatia, because until I was 22, I never met a Christian in my hometown. Never had any conversation, as Elder Momir was talking about. Jesus was not acknowledged in Yugoslavia. Kelly was in the United States when I came here for like 2 weeks before. And I called Kelly and said, look, Kelly, I'm looking for a car. We had 3 kids at the time, but are you pregnant by any chance? Because I need a bigger car. She said, yes, I am, but I didn't want to tell you. So thankfully that conversation happened. So I don't have to look for another car. Google. It's hard to find a car. Anyways, and we have been serving here ever since as a missionary. It's 2008. I will not bother you what we do. But people outside mainly, and occasional Christians, ask me, why did you come to Croatia when you came from the promised land, United States? It really is a promised land. I basically had 3 kids and a house. And my answer is Christ. That's it. Him who changed my life, who grabbed me from Pula, from what I just shared with you. He took me to the U.S. There was a reason for it. And I'm not saying that it's wrong to stay in the United States or wherever we live. But for us, it was the Lord who convicted us to come. Even though I was poor, I did not deserve the gospel. I did not deserve to go to the United States. I didn't study. I was just playing. I was a basketball player. Yet the Lord has found me and gave me this new life. So I want to encourage you to be a witness for Christ, as we have been encouraged today and in the last sermons. Each of you has your own story. What the Lord has done in your life, where you came from, but also your story now that you're coming to Croatia. You trusted Him in this whole process. You came into unknown. And the Lord has had to help you in this thing. We have heard from the last sermons, we just need to be normal people, ordinary people. We need to be who we are, yet it's not enough to just live the gospel. You have to share the gospel. Share your story, proclaim the gospel. I know that from experience. For you to share an opportunity for international people who are coming, this is part of your story. Kelly and I hanged out with internationals ever since we were in college. My best man is from South Africa. My teammates, my roommates from China, Indonesia, India. So we've been around internationals, and they're more open. As you are more open, I was more open. The only reason, in some ways, I came to Christ because I was open to other new ideas. So we, as internationals, I can include myself as a dual citizen, we have an opportunity for many people who will be coming here for years, and that you could be a witness to them. And then, of course, with Croatian people. Christ changes life, through your life and my life. And He wants to glorify Himself through your life and my life. Thank you for the opportunity to share.